This episode is sponsored by Skillshare. More on them later. Hello there, you beautiful 99,634 ton and 120 meter tall reptilian prehistoric apex predator. I'm of course talking about Godzilla. I mean, you look beautiful as well. But you see, I was recently rewatching the entire Monsterverse, so I'd really understand the subtle nuance and deeper meaning in Godzilla vs. Kong. And while watching it, I was reminded of a scene in Godzilla King of the Monsters, specifically when Ghidorah grabs Godzilla and flies straight up into the sky, about 20 kilometers up to Earth's second atmospheric layer, the stratosphere, before dropping our titular monster down onto the city of Boston. And it turns out that there's been some articles and videos about this topic before, but I didn't see those until after I researched everything, so here we are. Now, the destruction that we saw happen in the film from that drop is actually fairly accurate. From that footage, we can calculate that Godzilla impacts Earth traveling at Mach 2, that is 2 times the speed of sound, meaning Godzilla is supersonic. The air in front of him can't get out of the way fast enough, creating a shock wave, and that shock wave increases the pressure and compresses the gas, thus increasing its temperature, giving you that incandescent glow you generally see on a spacecraft's re-entry. And objects become incandescent, they glow, when they reach a certain temperature. In Godzilla's case, you now have an at least 600 degrees Celsius monster hurling towards Earth at 2,470 kilometers an hour. Once Godzilla makes impact with the ground, it would be the equivalent of 5 kilotons of TNT, the size of a small nuclear bomb. It would create a 150-meter fireball, vaporizing anything within that range, and almost a half-kilometer square area where all buildings would be destroyed. Then you have the light damage area, which is a total of 2 kilometers, where all glass would shatter and rain down upon you, and also because of the pressure, your eardrums might burst, which isn't good. But what is good, I guess, is that Boston, like we see in the film, would not be totally wiped off the face of the Earth. But you would have to probably pay a pretty tidy sum to rebuild it. Also, does anyone remember the show Powerless, where it's an insurance agency that deals with superhero damage and stuff like that? That was a cool concept. I'd like to see more of that. But anywho, let's change angles for no reason. Look at that contrast on my face. Real artistic. But just for fun, what if we were to drop Godzilla from space this time? Would that impact be more impactful? Yes. From a height of 100 kilometers, the Kármán line, that is the defined boundary between Earth's atmosphere and outer space, and also accounting for drag, Godzilla would hit Boston with more energy than the bomb dropped on Nagasaki, for a total of 21 kilotons of TNT. Any building or living thing within a 1.1 kilometer square area would be destroyed. The impact would be destructive up to 3.25 kilometers away in every direction, leaving an estimated 118,000 casualties in the city of Boston pretty much in ruin. Now, this doesn't account for Godzilla's inherent radioactivity and the amount of fallout or radiation that would be dispersed upon impact. But even if Godzilla wasn't radioactive, just the sheer size and speed, the devastation would be insane. I mean, Godzilla has become, in this instance, a kinetic weapon, which, crazy enough, isn't entirely science fiction. In 1967, 107 countries signed the Outer Space Treaty, prohibiting the use of chemical, biological, or nuclear weapons being placed in or fired from space. Which sounds like it pretty much covers all the bases. Except the US military found a workaround. The rods from God. Also known as Project Thor, is the idea that a tungsten rod could be fired from a satellite in orbit, and instead of needing some form of internal reaction that was prohibited by the Outer Space Treaty, would instead use the kinetic energy the rod would gain due to the speed at which the rod was traveling. And once it made impact, it would be truly devastating. Side note, tungsten was suggested because of its density and also its ability to withstand the extreme temperatures upon re-entry into our atmosphere. I mean, it didn't lose that much mass during the process. And when it comes to the rod itself, it had proposed dimensions of 6 meters long and 0.3 meters wide. And I say proposed dimensions because as far as we know, this doesn't actually exist yet. But if it did, its purpose would be to penetrate the ground, driving tens of meters down. destroying whatever bunkers or underground structures within with the same explosive force as a ground-penetrating nuclear weapon. This kind of weapon could also be launched and hit the intended target within minutes from anywhere in the world. Luckily, this is only a theoretical weapon, I hope, just like a giant monster falling from the sky is only theoretical. But in the case of Godzilla, that impact would do as much damage much more quickly than Godzilla walking through a city. And also the financial devastation would be severe. They never talk about that in the movies, how much it costs to rebuild a city, you know? But you know what isn't financially devastating? A membership to this episode's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community where you can take classes on photography, design, music, meditation, and more. And I'm actually taking Marquez's class on YouTube Success because, one, because he's my friend and I want to support him, and two, because I find that the moment you think you know everything is generally the moment when you start to fall behind. So it's always good to keep learning about a topic that you think you know very well. A Skillshare premium membership costs less than $10 a month, and the first 1,000 people to click the link at the top of the description will get a free trial to a Skillshare premium membership, and then you can check out Marquez's class. It is really, really good. So all that is down there, and all right, that's all I got for you today. Watch out for giant monsters, please. You're too pretty to die. And remember, it's not goodbye. Oh no, it's never goodbye. It's